When people watch a movie, they want to know who's playing the leading role, which actor is the hero, and who's the bad guy. But most people fail to see who actually has the biggest role in the movie, and that is the VFX. The fact that their importance goes so unannounced is a measure of how well they do their job. Marvel superhero films are big budget, hyped up, action-packed, and over the top. Everyone wants to see them and everyone wants to take part in them, and in Thor Ragnarok, virtually everyone did. Framestore, Industrial Light and Magic, Double Negative, Digital Domain, Image Engine, Rising Sun, Secret Lab, Rodeo Effects, Method Studios, Luma Pictures, Crafty Apes Exceptional Minds, Fin Design and Effects, Ilora, Perception, Technicolor, Trickster, and Whiskey Tree Studios. Framestore provided 459 shots including CG characters, digital doubles, and a fully CG Asgard environment. Upgrading assets Double Negative built for Thor, the Dark World, Framestore built over 9,000 buildings, which were mostly laid out by hand using their proprietary layout tool, Shambles, and their instancing tool, ForInstancer. Working from concept artwork and references of the Norwegian Lofoten Islands, the team sculpted mountains and created 2D digital matte paintings. Working closely with Industrial Light and Magic, Framestore attempted to create the best Hulk they possibly could. Using proprietary tools like their Flex and Flesh Muscle and Skin tool, complex rigging, and keyframe animation, they brought Hulk to life. However, Hulk's increased dialogue in the film meant that his facial features needed more detail. Industrial Light and Magic built an entirely new library of Mark Ruffalo's facial expressions that they captured using Medusa and provided Framestore with 90 different facial expressions. Framestore then worked alongside Marvel's Hulk specialist and concept artist Ryan Maynarding to build the facial rig from scratch. To create Fenris, Framestore studied wolves and dog motion, reference material, and concept artwork. They were originally going to make her transform from dog to giant wolf, before settling on just a giant black wolf. Although the muscle rig and flesh deformation were challenging, her groom was the most complex part. Greasiness, bold patches, scars, dirt and debris, and clumping all had to be altered because she was fighting in water, and as she was getting progressively wetter, so was her fur groom, so it had to change. The brief for Surtur included references to the sun, fire, plasma, and lava. He had to be a planet-sized titan of fire, but shouldn't appear to move slowly. So work on Surtur was basically all about balance. The animation team had to balance threat, speed, and scale, and the shading team had to balance transparency and refractivity with surface complexity whilst still having a sense of scale and mass. Framestore also created digital doubles for Thor and Hela. For Hela, Cate Blanchett wore a mocap suit which was replaced with a digital version of her costume and a CG headdress inspired by the original comics. For Thor, the team moulded, groomed, and shaded a high-res version of Chris Hemsworth that could be used for both close-ups and far-away shots, and then they body-tracked Chris so they could keep his original face and facial expressions. Industrial Light and Magic produced over 400 shots, which were concentrated in 3 main scenes: the Thor vs. Hulk battle, Hulk in the warrior suit, and the sequence where Thor escapes to the Quinjet. For the battle between Thor and Hulk, Industrial Light and Magic created a massive 1,300 foot wide and 460 foot high arena with a seating capacity of 160,000 crowd agents. In some shots, up to 100,000 crowd agents would be visible, so in order to avoid possible rendering issues, ILM sliced the arena into 24 pizza slice pieces, thus making it more manageable. The main complication with the fight scene was that Chris was fighting something that wasn't there. Mark's in-shot performance was captured by a head-mounted camera with dots on his face, but that was only used for Hulk's facial expressions. Various props were used for Chris to interact with, including Hulk busts and an 8.5 foot full upper body version of the Hulk, puppeteered by 2 VFX technicians. Even with all these aids, it's still very hard to sell a punch that doesn't connect with anything. And so, arm, torso, and full digital replacements were used at any time they needed to connect a punch or sell an interaction. Luma worked on around 200 shots for 8 different sequences, where Korg meets Thor, Loki visits Thor, pre-fight staging, Parade of Victors, Revolution Get Gun, Boys Go to Garage, Hulk vs Thor, and the film's end tag. Their main work was the creation and animation of the CG characters Biff, Meek, and Korg, Miek. Biff was created entirely by Luma, while Meek and Korg were collabs with Framestore. Although Luma used their own mocap room to capture reference movement for Biff and Meek, Korg's performance was actually done by the director, Taika Waititi, in a mocap suit. After receiving the initial Korg model from Framestore, Luma worked closely with them to refine Korg's rock detail and costume design. Korg's rigging was complicated because Taika's performance was laid back and easygoing, but Korg is a rock creature who is heavy and sturdy. They had to look heavy and intimidating, but at the same time be able to speak complex dialogue and gesture comedically. To make Korg, they started with a body mesh that contained muscle helpers to maintain volume and allow for bulging and contraction depending on his movement. The first animation pass was a mirror of Taika's performance. They then altered the pacing to make the performance weightier. A total of 1,334 individual rocks were used to create Korg, each with a slightly different texture. Rising Sun produced over 170 shots, including the creation of the Bifrost Bridge, the Palace Battle, and the Val's flashback scene. For this scene, Rising Sun created photoreal horses, Valkyrie and skeleton soldiers, as well as other CG characters, and, working close with Satellite Lab and their dynamic light rig, created possibly the most visually stunning shot in any Marvel film. The dynamic light rig is a 20-meter diameter light rig with 145 hot shoe flashes. These flashes are synced to a Phantom Flex 4K camera, shooting about 1,000 frames a second, one flash per frame. This means that in a fraction of a second, light flashes 360 degrees around the actors, creating this incredible effect. Please give us a like if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget the links to the music used in this video are in the video description, and as always, be sure to let us know in the comments which movie VFX you'd like to see behind next.